Kia ora everyone, welcome back to an all-time greatest series where I cover my favourite sets period. This here is set 79003, An Unexpected Gathering, which released under the Hobbit and Unexpected Journey line way back in 2013, more than 10 years ago now. I don't know why, this right now in March of 2025 just feels like a really good time to cover this set. This on screen right here is my complete package, more on that later. No, unfortunately the set did not release with all of these minifigures on screen. It does have a pretty good amount of them though. This here contains 652 pieces in total with 6 minifigures, 5 of them being exclusive and very good figures at that. This originally retailed for the price of $70 USD before tax, but this right here is Aotearoa's famous film franchise, so here in NZD this was $130 back in 2013. Today in the aftermarket space, this is currently listed for $545 sealed or $394 in second-hand condition. There is a remake of this set, kind of, releasing in April of 2025 that will cost around the same price as this one does now in the second-hand market. The set overview here is Bilbo's house as seen in multiple movies actually, not just the first Hobbit film. The scene in question is when the dwarves all meet at his house to try to convince him to join them on their adventure of a lifetime. And this right here is my all-time favourite Middle-earth set, yes, even beating out the Rivendell remake and Barad-dûr set, so I am incredibly excited for the new one that releases this year. Let's just get straight into the build. It is perfect. We have a greatly detailed exterior and the interior is just as impressive. If I have to fault it, I guess I could say it's disappointing to see that the interior is just one big room with no intricate hallways or anything like we see in the movies, but really that's a non-issue for me. The set here does feature some creative liberties at play since they've had to remove the entire hill that would be surrounding the house. I still love how easy it is to tell exactly what this thing is right from the get-go. We don't often have LEGO sets that are this green in their release, though be sure to be careful when it comes to those brittle brown pieces that were known to break if they released during this time. My set here does have that old creaking sound that older bricks are known for. We first have Bilbo's fence there with some stickered bricks to show off that old worn down wood. Designs like that these days exist as prints on bricks, which is much better than a stickered based design if you ask me. The fence there leads to a gated entrance which takes us right into his front garden. Some carrot tops have been stuck in the ground there, along with some flowers for some added decoration. That theme does continue over to the other side, which features a wide barrel full of carrots and one apple. 2 different types of circular window designs there, a large one and multiple repeats of that smaller one there. And they're both tricks of course. The small one there is using a circular dish on the front. The big one I can't show you because it's built into the house, but it's a square build of transparent pieces that then slides into its position with that circular base around the outside. The small build is repeated for the side windows there and even more flowers on display. Again, that exact design is repeated once more here on the other side. The front door is its own specialized piece. It's a printed design complete with Gandalf's mark on the door for the dwarves to find. It was a pretty tough thing to break away from the set given it's remained built like this for 12 years now, but this is what that piece looks like ultimately. There's no trick there, it is a circular door piece and thank God it's a print as well. This would have been a nightmare to apply. The roof there is quite simple for its design. I remember the tree being much bigger in the movies, so this is similar to how few balloons are used in the LEGO Up House from a couple years ago. And my personal fond memories of this tree here is that was the part that would frequently break in earthquakes, while the rest of the set there would be totally fine, so I have essentially memorized how to rebuild this exact segment from time and time again. And the roof is pretty cool. I really like how it's got those smooth sections off to the sides there. They keep all the studs in the middle for the additional inclusions like the chimney or the tree pieces. I also think that the mix of greens works for a contrasting feeling. Lighter tones are used only for the sides of the house there. It's an overall fantastic looking exterior build, with the final feature here being the removal of that roof. It's great for 2 reasons. It gives you easy access for play value. It also gives me easy access for filming purposes. The roof is simply attached by these green bricks there, while the rest of the roof there sits on nice flat tile pieces. If we spin the set around, we have Bilbo's living area. It's essentially a living space and maybe a kitchen combined into one setting, and all the interesting details that you would want are there. We start off with this corner there. We've got his book where he writes his story of the Hobbit before Frodo adds onto it. Featured here is a quill in an ink pot along with a letter in a glass bottle. The book there features a sticker on the front and the back, and on the inside we have nothing unfortunately. The dining table there has 6 spaces, which is just enough for the minifigures included in the set. Plates full of food like the cherries that LEGO love to throw at us, some chicken drumstick pieces, a baguette and a pretzel. One thing that I'll mention with the chairs, not sure if it's an age thing, but anytime I apply any of the figures to those chairs, the chair will always come away with them. We then have a barrel off to the side there with an apple shoved inside, some maps on the floor, and a chest with a shovel that's been placed inside. The maps on the floor there show images of the Shire, Mirkwood, and the Lonely Mountain, which would all make for some killer LEGO remakes. The final section of this house there features Sting on a mantelpiece. Doesn't make sense, he doesn't have Sting yet, but whatever. And some glass jars there for decoration too. I almost forgot to mention that there is a little kitchen type area there. We see a broom and some pots and pans over the fireplace. It's all very nice to see and very easy to assemble that roof again. Man, it's so good. They nailed this thing. It was an amazing release, and it remained on shelves for years too, and for good reason. People just ate this thing up. Naturally, part of the appeal there was that you could use your other Middle-earth figures for this display. This was a necessary addition to people's collections. The minifigures for this set are some of my favourite from the Hobbit line. It was the first ever LEGO Hobbit set that I saw leaked images for, and it was my first indication for the tone of these dwarves. Weird, freaky looking guys. But before we get to any of them, we have here Bilbo, who was the lead of the series and exclusive to this set. There currently exist more unique variants of Bilbo than Frodo's across all Lord of the Rings sets and Hobbit sets. Here he is featured in his suspenders, casual wear from the opening of the film. The hairpiece I believe was just Sam's being reused, and a new face print there for Martin Freeman, a double-sided expression of a much more worried look, which I really like. I think that works really well for that character. This here is Bilbo compared to the more widely released Bilbo figure. The red coat there was released across 4 sets, but one of them was $20 back in the day, so he was easily the most affordable release. I never liked that default face that he has there of the weird annoyed expression. This is a retrospective review, so here he is compared to the Old Man release of Bilbo that came out in the Rivendell set, which makes for a really great inclusion for this set now if you wanted to display this as a Fellowship of the Ring release. Of course, now in 2025 we actually are getting our own official Fellowship of the Ring release anyway, and I'm very excited to have that on hand. This here is Gandalf. He released in quite a few sets over the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit sets, mostly Hobbit sets now that I think about it. Even LEGO Dimensions had a Gandalf release, so I'm assuming most collectors out there have at least one Gandalf minifigure. He is a pretty cool figure. I think the first time we looked at him on this channel was with the double-sided expression of the hairpiece. If he doesn't have that hairpiece, there's no double-sided face. He's got his regular staff, which is a simple stick piece. I always wish we had something a bit more special for his wizard staff personally. If I remove that hat and the cape there, it can show the extra details for underneath on that back printing for his torso. For the time of release, I really like him, but he could always use some upgrading. Enter that remake from 2023, this figure is amazing with one big massive flaw for me. Using a dress piece now with some printing is amazing. I really like the cape here more. It's a really cool looking hairpiece as well, but I can't believe LEGO are still doing hats without hairpieces in 2025 and possibly beyond. And now time for the dwarves there. This here is Balin, who I always took to being like the second in command to Thorin in the movies. It's one of the coolest figures from this set. His current value in the aftermarket space is between $40 to $60 NZD. This guy here has a very unique beard and hair combo piece that's been produced as one piece. I love the look of that vivid red for his clothing. It makes him very special. The colours for all of the dwarves were really special when they were translated into minifigure form. He features a double-sided expression of a much more angry look, which is exclusive to this character, not this set specifically. Balin did appear in the Lonely Mountain set released for the 3rd film. If I remove those extra items like the hairpiece and the cape, we can see the details underneath. He looks great, like just about every other figure in the Middle-earth line. And then this here is Dwalin, who is also awesome. The current aftermarket price for him is between 50 to 70 NZD. It's a very hefty charge for this guy. A brick-built hammer is immediately eye-catching. I really like brick-built weapons in LEGO. He features tattoos which I couldn't put my finger on before, but now I realize they remind me of the Horizon Zero Dawn video game series, or maybe the tattoos that the characters in Horizon have actually remind me of Middle-earth. His colors appear to be green and brown, and he just looks really cool, a very intimidating little minifigure. Printing continues on the back of his head there. If we remove the cape, we can see the rest of the back details. That cape is a single hole inclusion because I guess maybe the beard would be in the way or something. It's a really great minifigure. And this here is Bofur, who might be my favorite from the set. I just love that hat piece that he's got there. The current market value for him is also around 50 to 70 NZD. Bofur there has a rubberized hat piece that has some strands of hair underneath that's been molded into it. His accessory there is a pickaxe, and he's representing the colors of brown and nougat. He too features a double-sided expression of anger. I feel like his face is the one that was touched up on the most and adapted into multiple sets across other things in the future. Another very cool dwarf minifigure for the set. And then finally we end with Bombur, who is immediately intriguing for that chest extension piece. LEGO do not often make releases like this, usually much bigger characters are still using regular torsos. Bombur's belly there has been molded into a piece that includes his hair and his beard, so he's wearing that piece on his head, which is why characters like Homer Simpson I don't think would work for a piece like this. Still, it's a really cool design that I wish the LEGO group would try to take into other themes, because I would have loved to have seen what a Homer Simpson with a bigger belly piece would have looked like. Bombur includes a sausage and a pot as his accessory, and he also features a double-sided expression, but man, you can hardly tell that anything has changed there, right? If I remove that hair, beard and torso piece, you can then see the printing there, where the facial expressions look virtually the same to me, just a slightly different tone in his eyes. Again, printing on the torso is insane when none of that is going to be visible. Really great quality control for these releases in 2013. The instructions here were released in two booklets, the first half and the second half of the build. There is theming on the inside, but you can't really tell on camera there. The back here shows the half model complete, and then the winning kid is screaming at me. The next booklet then naturally picks up where we left off, and now you can see that theming. It looks like a map of Middle-earth. The back there shows the set all complete, and we've got the inventory list, and here's a really crazy section. It's a minifigure roster for all the Hobbit minifigs. LEGO Star Wars fans will be very familiar with this from back in the day. Very privileged to have all of these given how expensive the secondary market is when it comes to Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit sets now. This really meant everything to me at release. If that's not enough, the next page does advertise the sets from the line, missing two releases here though. Here we can see the wine barrel set, which I've yet to cover on this channel, but we'll get there eventually. And then here we have that spider set. Both this and the winery jail scenes were taken out of the movie and inserted into the sequel, so these were released anyway as quote preview sets. The Riddles in the Dark set's one of the best smallest licensed sets ever released, great value in that ultimately. And then we have the Goblin King and Troll Town set, which was a really cool release from that line as well, needed for completing all of your dwarves. The next page there shows a tease for the LEGO Lord of the Rings line continuing on into the next year, and then we have an ad for the board game series which features a Hobbit set. Finally, we have another ad for the website of the LEGO Hobbit line, which was its own thing. It wasn't shared with Lord of the Rings. That domain obviously no longer exists, sadly. Like I've said here, it's one of the best releases that I think LEGO have put out. For those who weren't so into The Hobbit compared to Lord of the Rings, you were able to get this for the iconicity of that build alone, and using it for your other figures made for a cool display. An even better one though is cramming in every dwarf figure into the interior scene, which only technically can accommodate everyone, but you really do need to shove them in there. I really look forward to seeing how big this new one is for the interior space and seeing how well I can fit these guys into that set. It's one of my all-time favorite releases from the line, and a set that I just simply could never part with, even if this upcoming remake is better on all accounts, and I have no doubt that it will be. The minifigures there are great additions for that world. They remained mostly exclusive. The build there is one of the most recognizable from the movies, and I think it's one of the best releases the company ever produced. If you enjoyed this look at an older LEGO Hobbit release, liking this video here and subscribing to the channel does help to support more videos like this one in the future. Thanks for watching everyone, ka kite anō, take care, see you all next time.